playing the organ in its conventional way. And I said at the beginning, I'm sure there's a lot of you watching that probably play more in keyboard style, really, where you play your chords with your left hand, but we're not all wizards with the bass pedals. You know, it's nice to have a go from time to time, but it's also nice to get a great result sometimes, even if you're not a brilliant pedal player. And with automatic rhythms these days on most modern instruments, they provide such wonderful bass lines and such wonderful accompaniments that why not use them? They're there. And that's where this second great feature comes in, which is the automatic setup button here. And I should just say at this point, I think these two features, the automatic organ and the automatic setup, combined together make this instrument so powerful for the home user, because you've got access to literally hundreds of setups like the ones I've just used, but you can tailor them to suit the way you play. Now, in the automatic setup, I'm going to choose, at the moment, I could choose any one of the 90 rhythms built in there. We've actually got an extra 16 that are loading into the user button just there. Again, that comes supplied with the instrument. So there's 106 rhythms to choose from. And I don't care what anybody says, 106 rhythms, believe me, is more than enough. I'm sure we've all seen instruments that boast to have 1,000 or more different rhythms. I really don't think that for most people you need that number. We've got the usual selection of categories like the waltzes, the marches, the swings, all of the dance tempos like the quick steps, the sambas, the cha-chas. We've got a nice little modern selection, some disco rhythms, some 16-beat rhythms. We've got the ever-popular 8-beats and ballads. And we've got some lovely little piano styles. I'm going to show you one or two of these styles now. And rather than play the instrument as we've just done in traditional organ style, I'm going to use the automatic setup, and I'm just going to play more in keyboard style for you. So let's start with the waltz. It's always a good starting point. It's a lovely little rhythm. This is a brand new waltz rhythm that we've got. I've selected the waltz. I've actually got 3 different waltzes on that one button there because we've got an A, B and a C bank. I've chosen rhythm A, and all I now need to do is press automatic setup. You may have seen some lights change there, yes, because what the instrument has now done is give us a professional setup for that waltz rhythm. This time it's chosen a feature called MFC, which incorporates the auto bass and the auto chord. So we now basically just have to play the chords. It's automatically selected the intro and rather conveniently the auto start button as well. So we're actually ready to play. As soon as I play the first chord, we'll hear the intro. And the ending button to finish. You know, that's a lovely little rhythm because it's not typical of waltz rhythms on instruments. You've got that lovely dance band feel to it. Yes, we've got the orchestral waltzes with the strings and the piano, and we've even got a lovely theatre organ waltz, we've got a jazz waltz, we've got a French waltz, a musette. So you've got a good selection, but I think that's a beautiful one. And again, single finger, up on the right hand and straightforward chords on the left hand. Let's move along a little bit further. Let's go to the march section. Marches are always popular with people. Here's a great new 6/8 march. again, I'm only playing snippets of the tune, but I think you get the idea of fabulous, fabulous styles in there. Let's move along. We've got a lovely Foxtrot. Now, the Orla range has had Foxtrots, as of most instruments, for a long, long time. It is a popular, stable rhythm on a lot of these instruments. But this is a lovely new Foxtrot. It's got a lovely little jazz guitar playing in the intro, like this. Now, something I did halfway through the piece there was, you maybe saw my hand come up onto the panel. I was just changing through one of the variations on the rhythm, because we've got 3 different variations for each one of those 106 rhythms. And basically, rhythm variation 1 is always a very straightforward pattern. Just have a listen to what it was on the Foxtrot, just on its own. So what we've got going there is the drums, the bass, and just a nice little guitar strumming away in the background. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, it's not particularly exciting. No, it isn't. But I'll tell you something, that is probably the most useful variation out of the 3. The reason being, and you have to be careful with a lot of modern instruments, styles can sound absolutely superb when they're just played on their own. But often, you'll find when you actually come to play something with it, actually it hasn't left you any room to play at all. And the whole thing, it's probably not a nice thing to say, but can become a bit of a mess because there's too many things going on. So what I love about this instrument here is that every rhythm follows the same pattern. Variation 1 is always bass, drums, and just one instrument. And that, like I say, I think that's the most useful bit, because there isn't a swing Foxtrot that I couldn't play to that rhythm. And the same can't be said of every instrument that's around these days. But yeah, I can go, if I want to embellish it a little bit, I pressed variation 2. And that brought a lovely little piano in there. Again, not too intrusive, it's mainly just putting some little vamps in. You may have noticed the drums have increased as well. We've got that introduction of the ride cymbal in there. We go to variation 3. Lovely string harmony that's come into the background. So yes, you've got that ability to build the rhythm up, but don't be put off by variation 1. Often it's a great variation to use, particularly when you're learning a piece as well, because it's not too busy. When we were talking about the automatic organ section, we were talking about alternative sounds to bring in. I have to tell you, exactly the same is true of the automatic setup section. It works in exactly the same way. When you press the automatic setup, it will give you an initial sound. Let's use another rhythm, and let's use that as an example. I'm going to choose this rhythm here, the Latin Rumba rhythm. Now, again, this is a new rhythm. The intro just blows me away every time I hear this. It's gorgeous, lovely guitar sound on the intro. I can see immediately by looking at the conductor that it's the green section that has been selected. Now, you can try that. Yes, it's an electric piano. Actually, I could have found that out without having to play the keys because of the colour coding. Green. Let's have a look in the green section, and the button that's highlighted is electric piano. I can see that in the gold section we've got a guitar, and in the blue section I can see we've got some strings ready. So I've got a pretty good idea now before I start what sounds are coming in. But again, let's go back to what I said a minute ago. If you don't look at those sections, just trust it. Go from sound to sound. So I'm going to play a little piece for you now, and I'm going to introduce some sound changes. I might mix two sounds together. Just have a listen again, how easy it is to do.